Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This issue is actually derivative of the public pronouncements made by Chairman Rock to the media with respect to the town hall meeting that 3 members of this commission convened and conducted in order to fulfill the invitation that was made earlier by the chairman to hold such events. But what happened in the social media, and I stress a couple of points. One is that I never received a call, and I don't believe that Commissioners Trednick or Steverson received a call from the chair for any clarification. What you saw play out in the press was responses to a reporter who, by the way, was just asking because he was not actually present at the town hall, and asking the chairman, who was also not present at the town hall, what was going on. And what the report that the Chairman Rock gave was that this was not a legitimate town hall. It was not sanctioned by the commission, which is untrue on its face. That the fact that the commissioners conducting the town hall actually answered questions was a violation of the bylaws of the Racial and Social Justice Commission, which is factually untrue. The designation in the bylaws, and you need to read them, simply says that this Chairman Rock is the primary spokesperson for the commission with respect to actions taken by the commission. It doesn't say, excuse me, that a member of this commission cannot answer a question that is asked of the public. The presumption made by the chairman in the press release and the pronouncement was that she was not going to allow commissioners to make a mockery of this commission. And yet we produced emails which indicated that we were invited to do it, gave a standard for notice, which I met, and I sat in the last meeting and announced that we were going to hold a joint commission. The one thing that changed was that Commissioner Steverson asked if he could also participate. And we reached out and asked for clarification as to what responsibilities that would trigger under the FOIA law. Chairman Rock went to great lengths to say that she believed that we violated the FOIA law, and that was factually untrue. What we did is that we asked for clarification on what to do, and when we received that direction, we proceeded to fulfill those requirements. Now, it's interesting to note that a press release was then sent out after the comments were made to the media. That press release was sent to and then subsequently published, and in that press release, Chairman Rock specifically talked about the Republicans. The 3 Republicans on the commission held this meeting. When I questioned Chairman Rock's original decision as to why she put the 3 Republicans together at the end, and with respect to Mr. Martino, that's his seat that he gets by virtue of being the chief Moomba, the response to me was, oh, well, I did it alphabetically. And yet, when we described the 3 commissioners who geographically represent the areas of the county where it would have been convenient for our constituents to come to a central location in the western part of the county, suddenly it's the Republicans who are doing it. And then, interestingly, when it was posted on the website, the press release, guess what was missing? The Republicans. They sanitized the press release after she saw how bad it would look.
Commissioner Haddow, I appreciate your comments.
I'm not finished. I'm not near finished.
It's been 3 minutes, sir. So
I'm not near finished, Mr. Chairman.
If you would
this is an agenda item that I placed, and I'm going to explain it. And I'm not going to be cut off by you stepping in and out arbitrarily setting. No questions. You're free to answer the question when I'm done.
Sir, if you go on for 25, 30 minutes.
I'm not. Well, you can invite me then to that podium, and I can do what you allow for other members of this commission to do there for 20 minutes. I'm not going to take 20 minutes.
As an ex officio member, she was invited as a board member.
Unless you keep arguing with me, it will extend for 20 minutes. My last point on this matter.
In the interest of time, since we did do 3 minutes, if you have a motion on action that you would like to take from this, we're happy to do it in a discussion. I know this is for information, item. I just think that we've stuck to 3 minute requirement.
Is each agenda item only allowed to be 3 minutes?
No. And you look at the small group rules under Robert's Rules of Order. Now, I don't expect.
Point of
I
order.
don't expect. I don't expect
There's
that
a point of order. There's
is
a point
going
of
to
order.
go through and say anything. I had 2 prior instances where I hired a parliamentarian to show the mistakes that were made by this commission, and after I produced a professional parliamentarian's opinion, I didn't even get a response from anyone saying, well, we made a mistake. So I don't expect that you're going to say you made a mistake here.
I was just saying, for the sake of, again, there's a point of order, sorry, speaking of Robert's rules, that Commissioner Williams,
I would just, since we were discussing following rules and maintaining order, that we speak when recognized.
Yes,
and try
please.
not
Thank
to
you.
interrupt each other, because that would be helpful so that we can hear what everyone else has
I appreciate
to say.
that. Thank you.
So
Commissioner
who's interrupting who?
Please go
I was
ahead and
speaking,
speak.
and you interrupted me, and now I'm being chastised
To
by
ask
Ms.
you, because we have followed the
because I'm
3-minute
interrupting
rule
your
throughout.
interruptions.
Point of order.
Yes, parliamentarian.
We at our last meeting had Mr. Haddow on the agenda, and we allowed him to speak over 3 minutes,
Then,
get his points across. So I think it would only be right to follow that, what we did on our last meeting.
thank you. It was my understanding that we do 3 minutes, but, you know, if that's the parliamentarian's thing as well, please go ahead, Mr. Haddow. Take as long as you would like.
So thank you. And thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. My last point on this measure was that it is important for this commission to maintain its integrity and credibility. And I think when the chairman of the commission speaks to the press and makes factually inaccurate conclusions regarding the way that the town hall was announced, the way it was properly structured, and the suggestion that taking questions then replaced, without, by the way, the chairman saying or asking, did you say that you were speaking on behalf of the commission? Because had she taken the opportunity to listen or participate in any way or talk to anyone who was there, she would know that we said we can't speak for the entire commission. In fact, we were at points critical of other members of the commission on certain issues for which we had a disagreement. We never spoke for the commission, and yet publicly the pronouncements in the press, I think, diminished the standing and credibility of the Racial and Social Justice Commission to the point at which the chairman, by her own words, and then to publish a press release that repeated all of the allegations which were factually untrue and not to rescind it after the information was provided, I think is a complete departure from her responsibility as the member of this commission, as chair of this commission, and she does not have the right to chastise, under our bylaws, to single out any member of this commission and say that by answering a question from a member of the public or making a statement about our personal beliefs on issues that are germane to this commission, to say that we're not authorized to do so and that we violated the law, the FOIA laws, or violated the bylaws of this commission, which did not happen. And I think the chairman would be well advised to correct the public record, remove that press release, and explain to the press that she talked to that we resolved these issues and that she was wrong about them on the merits. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Haddow. I don't know whose light was on first, to be honest. Yes, Commissioner Tredenick.
Again, I struggle with the contradiction up here on this dais or dais, however we want to say it, because the moment anyone's character was attacked on this dais, there was a problem. And I have a problem because my character was attacked, because my name was run through the mud in the press, because it was stated that I did something wrong and incorrect. If there is a meeting being held that is wrong and incorrect, why would you as another commissioner show up to that meeting? If you feel like it's wrong in that place, why would you be there? Or what Chair Rock has said consistently from that seat. And I'm upset that she's not here to speak for herself about this, because then I know we're going to have to speak about it again, which is frustrating and annoying because I'd like to put it to bed. But she has said multiple times to me, pointed to me on this commission, if there's a problem, and to Mr. Haddow, you have my number, you have my email, you have my everything. We sit up here as commissioners. We don't know each other outside of this, but we have said there's an open line of communication. If you knew I was doing something wrong, if you knew I was about to walk into a storm, I would hope that you would say, yo, girl, you can't do that. Let's not do this. I serve on another commission that would do that. They would, hey, let me give you a heads up. We probably can't do this. So I don't understand why, if we were doing something wrong as the leader of this team, you wouldn't say to your teammate, hey, you're incorrect. Let's go about this a certain way, because you had days to do that and you chose not to. And it's frustrating to me that instead you'd call up Inside Nova and say, this is wrong, instead of calling me and saying you're wrong, instead of writing me and saying you're wrong, Erica. I'm sorry, I've never done this before. And I was told to hold a meeting. I was told to hold a listening session. I was told to speak to the community, and I did that. And like Mr. Haddow said, we talked about it ahead of time. We were gonna do it together, and then Mr. Steverson asked us to join, to which I then asked, Raul, is this okay? And maybe, and from in the future, I will be more explicitly clear. Is this okay based on your opinions, how you feel that day, and or our bylaws? Because I'm confused as to which way we can go. And it's frustrating from my standpoint because another commissioner here, not here, stated that it was a great meeting. And I asked if that person would also state that here. And they said they didn't want to get in the middle. What we did, there wasn't anything bad. It actually was good. It was calm. Everyone was kind. No one was screaming. It was a listening session of the community. There was many people, many different backgrounds, many different opinions. There was no ruckus. There was no chaos. And repeatedly from that platform, I said, we do not speak for this commission, period. I said it. So I don't understand where the confusion is. I believe firmly that we are owed an apology.
Thank you. Just a little point. You did mention the fact that Chair Rock is not here, pointing out the obvious. So perhaps it would have been beneficial to have this, if you're saying that we're going to have this discussion again, to have had this agenda item then. So I can't speak on behalf of the chair. But School Board Member Williams.
Thank you. So I just want to start by saying that on our very, very first meeting, Mr. Torres brought in the county lawyers and they gave us a very short, brief presentation on FOIA. We were all given this wonderful packet, and I made it very clear at that very first meeting that FOIA laws were important. And I knew this because I'm an elected official and I had some experience in the presentation that we gave, that everyone should take time to really understand and go through them, because it's very easy to get caught up and make a mistake, but that doesn't excuse your or not allow you to be held accountable for it. And I was really, I emphasized that because I knew that many of the members on this commission were new, and I didn't understand everyone's background clearly because it was our first meeting. But just in general conversation and passing and meeting individuals, I knew that most people had not served on a body like this before. And I was very concerned that something like this would happen. And it says in here, you know, one of the things it talks about is that if there are 3 or more, it is a public meeting. And there are very specific rules about ways in which public meetings have to be posted and have to be announced that go according to FOIA, not anything that I have anything to do with, because I don't make FOIA rules. I just know this because I've been an elected official for several years and gone through a lot of FOIA trainings as one. So I want to bring that up because we were all given the information, and it's human nature to make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. That happens, especially when you're new. What I will say is that I did attend the town hall. I did not participate in the town hall, but it was clearly a public meeting. And I would encourage people to listen to the recording. But as a member in the audience, what I can tell you through my lens of being an elected official is that when you speak as a presenter, someone hosting a town hall or an event, you have to be very explicit in stating that you are not answering on behalf of the organization that you are a member of while you are there. You have to say that when you answer questions repeatedly. What I heard on some occasions were, individual saying that in my opinion, or this is my perspective, but it was not consistent. And that's where you can get into trouble. Because if you are answering questions on behalf or making it appear, even the appearance that you are speaking on behalf of that body, that's where you can get into trouble. And I know this from experience. So it's not a matter of picking on anyone. It's not a matter of whatever political party. It doesn't make any difference to me, because at some point, we're all human. These things happen. And this is a learning process. But that is something that you have to be very careful about when you sit on boards and commissions or any body such as this. I do believe it does say in our bylaws that while the commissioner is the primary spokesperson, there's a section in there that says the authority has to be designated by the commission or Chair Rock. I don't want to quote it exactly because I don't have it in front of me. Maybe someone has a copy of the bylaws. They can read it after I get done. That says that in order to speak on behalf of the commission, you have to been given approval. Oh, thank you. That's nice and convenient. You have to be given approval. And this is important because it controls the messaging. And this is the reason why you have a chair and we elect chairs and vice chairs and have the structure that we have. So the public is clear on the comments that are made, what the commission is trying to say. And that doesn't just exist here, but it also exists, like, for example, I'm on the school board. Our chair cannot say, even to the media, or I can't say to the media, I'm speaking on behalf of the school board unless the board itself has given me the authority to do so. I can say, in my opinion, as a representative of the Woodbridge district, things of that nature, but I can't speak on behalf of the school board. And that's important, not just for this commission, but for any elected body. Thank you for passing this out. That was quite timely. And I will disagree on this point, Commissioner Trednick, and that is... Wait,
I thought we're not supposed to address each other. Hold on.
No,
we're not.
No, I'm not addressing you. I'm addressing
what
my
name.
You just said my name.
Okay. Can you,
well,
anytime I've said your name, you've come at me with that.
Can you please either raise a point of order?
Point of
if
order.
You have a thing?
Point of order.
Yes.
Every time
Commissioner
I've
Trednick.
addressed anybody else on this commission, I have been shut down and told I can only address the chair. You serve as the chair today. She should not get to say my name.
Thank you for bringing that point of order. Commissioner
Vice
Williams,
Chair
please
Akbar,
address
I will disagree with the
chair
statement that was made by one of the commissioners while I was present at the town hall, who spoke to the fact that there was no disrespect, there was no unkind words, there was no, I'm paraphrasing, there was none of that occurred, because I did witness a commissioner who was, in fact, rude to one of our own members of the commission and was not pleased by that. It did occur. I'm not the only one that saw it, and I do think that it's in itself made the commission, or representatives of the commission there, it was quite embarrassing. And it didn't look favorably upon our commission. And another thing with that came to my attention at the town hall was, it was more presentation than town hall, and very, in my perspective, very opinionated. And I think when we go out as a commission and we're asking members of the public to comment, most of the time should be spent on listening to the public and what they have to say and presenting materials that come directly from the commission. Not just individual commissioners. And that's a lesson that I've learned as a school board member. And I think that helps to facilitate the dialogue within the community and to gain the feedback that we are asking for as a board, as a commission. Because when you go out, you're still representing the commission. The purpose is to represent the commission and our mission. So I'm still a little unclear as to as to this agenda item and the disagreement around it.
Thank you, School Board Member Williams. I will just say that I did pass out a copy for the public. I passed out a copy of the bylaws page, the one that Commissioner Haddow had referenced. I had made copies of it just because I saw it referenced, just so that there would be clarity for everyone. So when it was referenced the second time with the designated members part, I thought it was the perfect time to pass it out. I will say it is 9:42.
Vice Chair,
as I'm speaking.
Our lights are on. I was just...
I know. I do see your lights. I was speaking as a member of the commission myself. that it's 9:42. Just letting everyone know. I mean, if we want to avoid the rule of, or not have a rule, I don't want to say that we have a rule when we apparently don't, of that, people are welcome to keep talking to each other. I would just suggest that we do these conversations offline as well, perhaps. I know that there was an email chain that happened in which a lot of this was already taken out. I know there have been other people in the community that have filed FOIAs to get on this. So I think it's great to have these conversations to clear up any misconceptions. Perhaps maybe just keep that in mind. If people want to keep going on and on and on, that's also wonderful. Commissioner Haddow's light was on, I think, before Commissioner Tredenick, but either one of you
yield to
can.
Commissioner Tredenick for the moment.
Commissioner Tredenick, please go ahead, and then Commissioner Haddow.
If we were in violation of FOIA, I believe that's going to come out. I don't know, but the request that came through did not look like it came from Chair Rock. So if there was a violation of FOIA, I have an issue when facts are not stated. There was 90 minutes of public comment time, 90 minutes. And if anyone here felt that one of us was rude to them as a commissioner, I would love to apologize for that, because I do know that a commissioner got up and interrupted our meeting. And that to me is rude. Again, I do have the FOIA Information Act. I have spoken to people about this to figure out whether or not I was in violation. I can read, although I have not been an elected official. And another reminder, we are not elected officials up here. There are only a few that sit here that are elected officials. We are not elected officials. I do not get paid to sit in this seat either. So I just want that out there again. The violation of FOIA states that you had to give notice. I gave notice to the chair, who is then the spokesperson and is required to put out things. Again, I do not believe that I was in violation of FOIA. If I was, I'm sure it's going to come out, and we can all sit here and talk about it, and I can eat crow at that point. There was 90 minutes of time from the public, if not more than that. So the majority of our meeting was listening to the public. That's it. Matt gave a presentation. I barely spoke in the beginning at all. We listened to the people, which is what we came there for. We heard what they had to say. Every single person got to speak. I barely cut anyone off when their time was up from either side of the aisle on anything that they spoke on. I am so frustrated because we did not do something wrong that evening. I did nothing wrong that evening. I listened to the community. That is it. This is ridiculous because I was asked to sit in this seat. I was. I'm a volunteer. I volunteered to do this, just like the rest of you did. And I respect that. And what we did that day was out of respect for the chair and what she asked us to do. I'm struggling with the fact that we're coming at us like we were disrespectful and awful. Go listen to the meeting. It didn't happen like that. If I got up and interrupted one of your meetings, I would have been ostracized over that. It would have not been allowed. I interrupted tonight and got in trouble for it immediately. So I waited for that person to finish before I addressed them about interrupting. And I don't feel like I did it in a rude manner. So I'm sorry if you do feel like I addressed you in a rude manner, if that's what we're speaking about. I hope not. I just want to be very clear, like, I am approachable. If you feel like I did something wrong, if you want to talk to me, call me. I've had conversations with people here who have apologized to me for being rude. And it didn't have to get brought up here. It didn't have to be brought to light. But if that's what we're doing on this commission, then we need to make sure we do that across the board. If we're bringing transgressions up, we need to do it across the board.
Thank you, Commissioner Tredenick. Commissioner Haddow.
On the issue of whether there was a violation and adherence to the Freedom of Information Act, I attended the meeting that was referenced earlier. I took it seriously. I've had extensive experience personally with FOIA. I understand it. The requirements of FOIA are that prior to the meeting that you give notice if there are two or more commissioners, three or more commissioners that are involved. We specifically sought confirmation of that fact. I provided notice of the town hall meeting in this commissioner's time on the 23rd of September, I believe it was, which was a full 12 or some days in advance. That was then posted. The video is on the website. I gave notice. Prior to the meeting and within the scope of the FOIA requirement, we then sought counsel because there was a third member who had asked to participate, and we wanted to follow the rules. Now, if there was an error, the error might be because people on the staff didn't follow through and post it in the appropriate place. I don't know. I don't think anybody violated anything. And I think the suggestion is that we failed to look at or pay attention to or adhere to the FOIA rules is factually wrong. The remedy, if Chair Rock truly believes we did, sue us. That's the remedy. Not to sit here and accuse us again in the same way that Chair Rock did it before the media, and then in this meeting to be accused of violating FOIA. Sue us, because then we'll let a judge decide. And we'll see whether or not there was an intent to violate, whether there was an actual violation, when in fact there was not. And the fact that this got aired in public, rather than having the respect to make a phone call, I will bet money that there have been plenty of conversations between Chair Rock and other members of this commission about other things. I've never received one phone call, not one. And here was a matter of import, such import, that it required a pronouncement in public that 3 commissioners had violated FOIA, that in fact they were participating in unsanctioned topics, which I'm going to address in this next area. Not true, by the way. And then to suggest that we had acted in some willful way to speak for the commission. And the idea that every time I open my mouth, I have to, at any point in the meeting, and any other commissioner has to say, by the way, I am not speaking for the commission, is absurd. And anyone who rationally believes that, we explained on multiple occasions when asked relevant topics about what the commission's view was, we said we can't speak for the commission. I would challenge anyone to pull out the FOIA law and show me the citation that says every time you speak, you must say, I'm not speaking for the commission. It doesn't exist. We are being reprimanded publicly for something that is not in the law, and it's because of the bias and the hypocrisy of that ought to be stunning to anyone who listens to it. My purpose in raising this was simply to call out the chairman of this commission, who has a duty to protect the integrity of it, has a duty to protect the ability of the commissioners to operate within the rules. We followed every rule. We sought advice, and we got the counsel and followed that counsel. And when we actually conducted the town hall, I can tell you this. If you want to look for a difference between how people talked about critical race theory and culturally responsible teaching in the town hall that was held at Patriot High School by commissioners of the Racial and Social Justice Commission, contrast the tenor, the conduct of the people to what happened before the school board, and ask yourself which was more rational, which was done better. And I think you'll find any rational person would conclude we had a great meeting. People got to air different viewpoints, and they got to do it without anyone slapping them down. And yet we are criticized for that. So I agree with Commissioner Trednick, not only an apology from the chairman, but publicly to state that the inferences and the plain language of her press release and the statements and pronouncements she made to the media were wrong. Upon reflection and investigation, there was no violation of FOIA. If she is unwilling to do that, then sue us, and we'll answer before a judge, because I know what the outcome of that's going to be. We saw, well, everybody knows the history of one where there was no public notice given, and the judge said as long as there was no conduct of public business, then it wasn't a violation. Neither of those things apply to us because, A, we gave notice, and we didn't conduct any public business. We accepted viewpoints. We gave viewpoints, and we answered questions, never saying that we are speaking for this commission. So I think it's on the chairman now to react in a positive way to restore confidence, restore credibility, and acknowledge that she spoke before she had done the research and even had the courtesy to call any one of us and ask what's going on.
Thank you. I see your light. Just want to, again, point out the chair is not here. So, Commissioner Porter. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you were acting chair tonight. Yes, I did attend the town hall
I agree. I thought it was very good. We did hear different views from there. I was the individual that stood up and made a comment. The commissioner made a comment because I've been around a long time. I have a thick skin, so whatever somebody says to me, yeah, it rolls off. I don't worry about that. You can't be in human and civil rights and be concerned about what people say or think about you. I'm used to that. But you know, when we talked about a town hall format, I'm used to town halls and listening sessions, and people generally address those who are, you know, on the stage or whatever. My comment was, and I asked Mr. Haddow to ask the individuals to address him, you know, or address the three people on the stage. What happened at that point in time, there was a person that made a comment, you know, with his laptop talking about critical race theory, but he was turned to the audience. And I was concerned that that individual was lecturing the audience. And that, to me, did not follow the protocol for a town hall or a listening session. So that's all I ask, you know, I didn't care about what anybody had to say, but I wanted an orderly to address the people who were there to receive the information. So that was my piece there. So
thank you, Commissioner Porter. On to our next agenda item. I keep seeing my own light on both sides, so in case I look left and right, it's because there's a reflection, so I apologize. On to the next agenda item. Commissioner Haddow, Chair's authority to limit discussions / determine commission scope on issues of public concern during commission listening sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This one is a more precise problem that I had with the chairman's description of what she believed to be the scope of the issues of public concern during listening sessions, and that the discussion about critical race theory and culturally responsible teaching was outside of that scope. It is a pronouncement that she made publicly. Now, I know that there is a disagreement about this issue, but it was Chairman Rock who, in the August meeting, placed this as an agenda item at the start to discuss critical race theory and offer her opinion about it. I was not present because I was at a family funeral in August when the meeting took place. So in the September meeting, I raised the issue, and we had a better than 30-minute discussion about critical race theory and culturally responsible training that was done for teachers. At the sort of the end of that discussion, there were two commissioners that expressed the view, which they rightfully are entitled to do so, that they didn't think that this was in the scope of the commission. I think it was Commissioner Porter and School Board Member Williams who said that. But there was no formal action taken. At that point, it would have been appropriate if someone wanted to say, well, I move that we exclude this discussion. There was no such action taken by the commission. And I even said, I'm going to continue to discuss this. So the real issue comes down to this dispute that we have among some of us about whether critical race theory is being taught in Prince William County schools. And I think, just as a reflection on what we heard at our town hall meeting, there is no question that in the public school system in Prince William County, there is no textbook that is distributed to the students called critical race theory. There is no teacher's syllabus on the critical race theory curriculum that one could point to. And there is no course listing for students called Critical Race Theory 101 or 102 or so on. These words, those words, critical race theory, is not being taught in Prince William County schools, but it is a deliberately misleading phrase, in my opinion, that relies upon verbal gymnastics to deceive the public about the reality of what teachers are required as a condition of their teaching license or for renewing that license to be trained on correcting embedded and unconscious racism in our classrooms using the basic tenets of critical race theory. You don't have to believe me on this issue, by the way. You can go and look at the Virginia Department of Education Equity website, where it clearly outlines the objectives of culturally responsible teaching. It says to establish policies and procedures to advance anti-racist school culture and climate, uses cultural differences as assets necessary to inform the development of instructional resources, mediates power imbalances based on race, culture, ethnicity, and class, utilize students' culture as a vehicle for learning. Diverse groups from all rings of culture are represented, validated, and affirmed. Establishes a three-pronged approach. All of this from the Virginia Department of Education Equity site. Institutional, recognizes the need for reform of school policies and procedures based on cultural factors. Personal, requires teachers to become culturally responsive. Responsive, and even forces them into passing for their relicensure a test on that, an assessment. Instructional provides educational materials that are culturally affirming and aid in delivering culturally responsive instructions. The basic tenets of anti-racist education are: racism exists today in both traditional and modern forms. All members of society have been socialized to participate in racist systems. Teachers are instructed to develop in their lessons plans around the following resources. And listen to who those resources are that are on that website. Zaretta Hammond, who's with the New America Foundation. She says critical race, in her book, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain, argues that white teachers and students must be made to feel discomfort, rest in that discomfort, confront and eventually become critical of their supposed privilege. Just having social justice stance or wanting to close the achievement gap doesn't undo our unconscious programming around the issues of race and privilege, unquote. Ibram X. Kendi, in his book, Teaching Tolerance, again on the state website, any disparity in disciplinary actions or enrollments is also ipso facto evidence of implicit racial bias. Capitalism and racism are co-joined twins that must be fought together. Benita Love from the Education Trust, on the website, part of this curriculum training, to even begin to attack our destructive and punitive educational system, pedagogies that promote social justice must have teeth. American schools are spaces of whiteness, white rage, and white supremacy, all of which function to terrorize students of color. Civic education that teaches children to pay their taxes, vote, volunteer, and have good character is rejected by Love as a code to comply. History tells us, she says, that dark folks' humanity is dependent on how much they disobey and fight for justice. That's a part of what the State Board of Education is telling teachers to develop their curriculum around. Dr. Gloria Ladson-Billing, quote, "But what was necessary to help African Americans to catch up with their white counterparts? Beyond equal treatment was the need to redress past inequities. Thus, there was a move towards affirmative action, the creation of African Americans and other marginalized groups as protected classes to ensure that they are not systematically screened out of opportunities in employment, college admission, and housing. If we look at the way that public education is currently configured, it is possible to see the ways that critical race theory can be a powerful explanatory tool for the sustained inequity that people of color experience. I will use areas of curriculum, instruction, assessment, school funding, and desegregation as exemplars of the relationship that can exist between CRT and education." That's what our teachers are being asked to develop their curriculum and to be assessed on in terms of their cultural competency. This goes on. Marcus Bassi, it's equally as horrendous. At the bottom line, and I'll hand this out, and I'd ask everyone, if I get some help from the staff, to hand it out. I would ask you to look at sort of the crowning blow about the question of whether we teach this in Prince William County. And I'd ask you to and I've just outlined, they're right here, thank you. It just outlines the points I've just made, but on Exhibit 1, this is a spreadsheet that was used in a webinar that was done by the Virginia Department of Education Equity Group, and it is done by Ms. Borgos when she was the Prince William County representative for that, and I think her title was that Supervisor of Global Learning and Culturally Responsive Instruction. She gave this webinar, and you simply have to read on this spreadsheet exactly what the theories that are being told to the teachers that they should base their curriculum decisions around, and then ask yourself when you're done, is this critical race theory? Now, by the way, you don't have to look too much further.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
If you look at exhibit...
Point of order. Sorry, just 1 second. There's a point of order.
We supposed to be talking about the chair's authority to limit discussions.
Well, I am.
And determine commission, but we're talking a lot about the critical race theory. But it says chair's authority to limit discussion, determine commission scope on issues of public concern during the commission's listening sessions. But now we're getting a whole outline on critical race theory. I would like to go back to Mr. Haddow's presentation on chair of authority to limit discussions.
I'm ready to do that, to wrap this up, to make it relevant. Okay?
Thank you.
So the last thing
to make it relevant.
you need to look at, all of this information on Ms. Borgos' spreadsheet, you simply have to look at the footnote where it says it talks about the citation, and it's critical race theory today. This information is informed by critical race theory. So the chairman of this commission said that in the press that it was not appropriate for the 3 commissioners that held a town hall to talk about critical race theory because it was not a part of the scope of the commission's mandate. Yet, she brought it up in August, in the August meeting, just 2 months ago. I brought it up in response because I wasn't there, as I mentioned earlier, and addressed the issue and explained why there was a concern. Because at the time, I was doing my research, and I didn't see the difference between critical race theory and culturally responsible training. And we spent 30-plus minutes. There was no action taken by this commission. There could have been to stop that and say, we're not going to talk about that at all. I said at the conclusion of my remarks, and you can go back and watch it, I said, I'm going to continue to talk about this. We then brought it up in the town hall meeting because there was a pent-up demand to do so. And after that, the chairman said it was inappropriate for them to do it because it's not within the scope of the authority. On what action did the chairman make that conclusion public? There was no action by the commission. She brought it up initially. I responded, said I was going to continue to talk about it, and then she goes public and says that we are outside of the scope of what the commission's mandate was. That is simply not true, and I hope that the chairman will correct the record, because what I've shown you today is that while we may not be teaching critical race theory in terms of curriculum or syllabuses or textbooks, we are teaching critical race theory, as Mr. Parker said earlier. There are some gaps, there overlay on top of it, absolutely are, and you read what we're asking these teachers to be assessed on in their cultural competencies. We're teaching critical race theory in our schools, and it's a sham for anyone to suggest that we're not. And I think at that point we can have a serious discussion then about
School Board Member Williams,
race theory in the future. I'm sorry, did you think I was done?
She said point of order.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why. Yes.
I would like to echo our parliamentarians, because I thought the focus was to the chair's authority on limiting, determining the scope of issues related to public concern, but I'm not hearing that. I'm just hearing about critical race theory and whether or not it's being taught in the school division, which we.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams.
What, a point of order
is registered.
It's not supposed to be about disagreeing with.
So that's why I said thank you for her point of order, which thank you for bringing up your point of order. Commissioner Haddow, were you finished wrapping it up, or did you have more to tap? Thank you. Thank you. That solves the point of order right there as well. Thank you all. Now, and I would suggest that let's not forget we also have commissioners' time for if people do want to share any comments on any topic. The next agenda item is my own. For those that don't know, I am Vice Chair Akbar. So the update on commission report by committee leads. So I had forgotten that Commissioner Frederick would not be here today. So if it's okay with Commissioner Allen, I just was going to give an update to the general public. I know that it's been in the leads meeting, but in case people don't listen, I know that it's been shared by the leads with their committees, that we are aiming to submit our committee reports to the chair by November 1st or on November 1st, so that then they can be put together and compiled and formatted as needed. And then our November meeting is a work session, which will not have public comment time because it's a work session, as our December meeting as well, I believe. So that those are the meetings that we will be discussing the report as a whole and addressing that. So just wanted to bring that up for the public's attention. Seeing no other lights on. Commissioner Haddow, is your light on for? Oh, yours.
Can I just ask? So
yes.
For that November and December meeting, will it be televised in the same format?
I believe that's just as a requirement to publicize it. But I don't know actually if it's a requirement. I'm not passing any rules. I do believe that yes, it will be televised, just not the public comment time of people coming up and speaking. And I think there will be one agenda item, no listening sessions. The agenda item would just be planned agenda item would be just to work on the report. On to commissioner's time. Commissioner Allen.
I must say this has been a day. It's been a tough day. But I want to, it was a statement said earlier by Mr. Parker that I certainly like. He said, foster a sense of understanding rather than agreement. So sometimes we're going to have some disagreement. It seems like that's every meeting. But I certainly would like to hope, I'd like to think and hope that we can start moving towards understanding as we move towards this report, because the whole goal is to be preventive and to make us the best county in the United States of America. So I support that wholeheartedly and the diversity of thought. I thank you all, and I thank all who are present and all that are watching. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. I just want to make sure we are timing for the, oh, thank you. Commissioner Castro.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. I would like to just echo a statement that was made today. Culturally responsive instruction deepens instruction for all. So thank you. And like Commissioner Allen, I look forward to being able to submit a report that will help Prince William County grow.
Thank you, Commissioner Castro. Commissioner Frederick's not here, so Commissioner Haddow.
I think that occasionally it's appropriate and I think valuable to stop and evaluate where we are. And we're now at the conclusion, despite some bumps along the road, to start the formulation of a report with recommendations that are made to the Board of County Supervisors and to the Superintendent's Equity Advisory Committee at the school with the school system. One of the frustrations that I continue to have is the lack of information. In our Education Committee meeting, I brought up the fact that I'd asked multiple questions for which there had been no responses. And what we're left with is, and there were explanations all around, well, you didn't ask it properly, even though I had submitted it in writing, I still wasn't recognized. Perhaps I didn't put a question mark at the end of it. But this gives you an indication of how I think one of the potential pitfalls that we may be headed towards, which is that we're going to produce a set of recommendations that are not driven by data, that are more the opinions of the members of this commission, and that would do a disservice to the people of Prince William County. I think that this ought to be data-driven. I think it ought to be evidence-based, and to the extent that we can benefit from others, and we've started now finally to get to discussions about other groups and having input. I appreciated tonight hearing diverse inputs. I think it's probably the first meeting we've had where we've seen that kind of thing. I welcome it. I applaud it. But I think that we are headed in a dangerous direction if we hustle or move quickly to a set of recommendations that are staff-driven as opposed to evidence-based and data-driven and not reflective of the actual diversity of our commission. I know it's not headed in the right direction on the Education Committee because it's clear where that's headed to me. And it doesn't value nor represent any of the viewpoints that I've provided, at least as I've seen it to date. I hope I'm proven to be wrong on that, but I'm not encouraged by it. I hope everyone on this commission and the public forces accountability to us that our recommendations truly are evidence and data-based. And if we do that, then we will do what I think the Commissioner Allen talked about, is making this a better county, because that is what we should be doing. We are not perfect. We may be able to find specific areas of problems that we can address and improve the quality of the community without painting the broad brush of systemic racism when it doesn't exist. And where there are pockets of problems of racism with, for example, the demographics of the county employee base and the school system, we should address those and work hard for them, but not put this big brush out, paint everybody as being a bunch of racists, and that's what concerns me. So I hope we get to that sweet spot of appropriately and responsibly providing recommendations come December. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Haddow. Mr. Martino.
Thank you. I have no further comments.
Thank you. Chief Newsham.
I have no comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Newsham. Commissioner Porter.
Yes, just a brief comment, particularly on the culturally responsive instructions. We have no choice. Prince William County has no choice but to look at culturally responsive instruction. If you look at the demographics of this county and the constant change of the county. It's not like it was when I graduated from high school in 1975. This county is not what it was then. So we do have to look at how we teach the diverse populations that represent our students and residents of this county. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Porter. Commissioner Steverson?
Truth, justice, and the American way.
Oh, yeah.
Truth, justice, and the American way. That was a common expression when I was a kid. Not so much anymore because we have little common ground, especially with the streams of unvetted immigrants who begin their life in America as criminals. You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Not so much now, because everyone wants to have their own truth. But there is only one truth, one pure, unadulterated truth. There's no such thing as your truth, my truth. There's only God's truth, because God is truth, and he never changes. Even if you speak with the tongues of men and of angels and do not have truth, then you're nothing but a sounding bag, a windbag, and a tinkling cymbal. Truth is absolute, undiluted, not compromised. Truth dissolves the deceptive facade. If you tell a lie long enough and often enough, it will become true. No, that's a lie. No lie can live forever, but truth is eternal because God is eternal. Truth brings to light. It casts out darkness. Truth is not sweet. It is bitter. But a lie can roll off your tongue as sweet and as smooth as honey. Regrettably, lying has become a high art form today, and a liar is lauded as a silver-tongued devil. Well, he's a devil, all right, and he comes to kill and destroy. We're all born liars. We have to be taught to tell the truth. It is not natural. You have to force yourself to tell the truth. Parents must tell you lying comes easy to a child. When I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, and I spoke like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And that has made all the difference in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Steverson. Commissioner Tredenik?
Thank you, Mr. Steverson. I would like you to come and speak to my boys on a daily basis. That would be wonderful. I just wanted to piggyback on something else that was stated and give Commissioner Allen some kudos. Regardless of our differing opinions, because I'm sure we have them, you have always been respectful of me and have always valued what I'm saying, whether or not you agree with it or not, as well as Mr. Martino. We all sit at the table here for the Government Workforce Commission, and we're able to come to a consensus, even if it differs. And I feel like you've represented me well in that, and I hope that the other commission members do also get to put their say in, or their, offerings to each separate commission. I just also want to reiterate that when we're given the opportunity to make a positive difference or make a positive change in our community, we should take that, and we shouldn't take it lightly. Like it's been said this evening, I serve on another commission in the county. I have been contacted by press and given statements, not on the commission's behalf, but about commission business, and never once was I reprimanded for it. It's happened on multiple occasions, actually, because we all serve in different areas and have to talk about different things. And I'm appreciative of that commission. And I said it on the record last night, and I'll say it again here, for the staff's professionalism and kindness to the commission members and the communication that occurs in that commission. I value it. I enjoy being there. And I pray that one day I enjoy being here every single time. I'd like to congratulate my boys on their big wins this week and remind them that winning is not everything, but character is everything.
Thank you, Commissioner Tredenik. School Board Member Williams.
Thank you, Vice Chair Akbar. I just wanted, for my commissioner's time, wanted to remind the general public that, one of the goals of this commission is to look at all three areas where it does need to look at through a lens of equity. And my role and participation here on the commission stems from the fact that Prince William County School Systems has led the way in this county in terms of work of equity and equality. And we set the tone and the example as a school division for that work. And I say this because the Prince William County Schools, as of last night, gave a State of the Schools report. And we also, passed a updated non-discrimination policy for our students, because the one for our staff and adults was passed in 2017. This one mirrors, the one we passed last night mirrors that policy with the addition of the recent updates and mandates from the state in regards to transgender students and military status and a few other things. And I am just a proud representative from Prince William County School, from the Prince William County School Board, and can do nothing but acknowledge that while we have much work to go and much to do, I am proud to represent a school division that has continued to lead the way, and we will continue to do so, as stated from our school board meeting last night. And I also wanted to mention that, in the education committee, one of the things that we're tasked to do is to assess public education policies that impact children of color in the areas of discipline, academic achievement, and access to resource. And often we talk about CRT, and I just want to make it clear, and hopefully for the last time, that that is not something that is being taught. Culturally responsive teaching is not interchangeable with CRT. There may be some overlap in terms of tenets, as Mr. Parker said this evening during his presentation, but they are not one and the same. And as I had said previously multiple times, they are not one and the same. And I do believe that it was informally decided as commission at one of our previous meetings, I think the last one, that since it was not being taught in Prince William County Schools, it's not really relevant to a scope of our commission. But you don't have to take my work for it. I believe we were all encouraged to go and dig deeper in our understanding and learn as individuals. Please feel free to check the record. But since it is not a policy or a resource or a practice, I'm hoping that we can move past this discussion and talk about some of the real work that Prince William County Schools is doing and will be undertaking in the near future. And on another note, I just want to add, since 9/11 was part of this commission, there was an update to that as well last night at the school board.
Thank you,
Point of order, Mr.
school board
Chairman.
member.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Did I read the minutes incorrectly that we just approved? Because when you look at the minutes from our September meeting,
Yes.
and you look at it, it talks about the discussion on cultural on CRT and cultural responsive training. It doesn't say anything about any action was taken.
Thank
so I
you.
must have missed it.
I think I appreciate that. I watched that too. I paid very close attention to what School Board Member Williams was saying. She said, I think. So I'm sure if there's any kind of discrepancy,
So it
you
was
can
wrong.
have a conversation with her. You can have a conversation with her, but that is her commissioner's time. But thank you.
She was talking for the public. I was looking at the record, and the record does not reflect.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, my time. I am super excited as we approach December to be able to get our report out, that we'll have one report as a commission. We might have our disagreements, but we're going to be publishing one report, which is great. And I think that, thankful to all of our presenters that have presented so far. The other reason I'm so excited is because, we listened to presentations that were exciting about the work that is being done to be responsive to all of our students. As a teacher, that always makes me excited. Makes me really excited to see Ms. Burgos here, who's done so much of that work in Virginia. And so many of the people that Mr. Haddow just read from, I'm so excited. Like Ibram Kendi, a Prince William County graduate, which I'm excited about. Love Dr. Bettina Love. I think she's done some amazing work. So definitely follow out on reading that and also looking up at equity. The most important thing that I wanted to mention, though, was as we reach the end, our staff that has assisted us in getting to know how to run a commission, how to be in a commission, even though sometimes we didn't necessarily deserve the patience and the courage with which you have put yourselves in positions that you didn't sign up for either. I think there are things that we didn't sign up for as volunteers, but that we knew that would come along perhaps. But there's definitely in your professionalism in every single thing that you've done is just so commendable. And I would just urge all of my colleagues. I know sometimes we get really heated when we speak on sitting on this dais, and passions can run really, really high. let's not direct those passions ever. I mean, arguing with me, fight with me, anyone left or right wants to argue, that's something that we're doing as commissioners. These professionals that are doing jobs that oftentimes are way beyond what is in the scope of their work, I really commend you for just the amazing people that you are in being able to do that patiently with a calm face, demeanor, and here the next Thursday, even if the last Thursday was long and unpleasant, and in between that forwarding our emails. And I know we've had a lot of FOIA requests and stuff. And so thank you so much, truly. I've just been seeing that in I don't know. I've said this before, but I'm truly in awe and really appreciative of you all. So that is it for me.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you for the motion. Thank you for the second. Do we need to call roll, Commissioner Castro, or is it unanimous? Unanimous. Great. Meeting adjourned at 10:23.